What's up, Adrian?
So I'm excited because I get a chance to do a quick chat with my guy, Lindsay. And as I shared, I had a chance to start learning him and working with him since we were in college. And being someone who creates a particular placemaking and opportunity is truly what he's all about. So I told you this conversation and this panel is brought to you by Beau. So Lindsay, can you please explain to our wonderful family here what Beau is?
Yeah, so we're going to get right into it. So you're probably wondering, what is Beau, right? You don't know how to say it. It looks crazy how you say it, right? So Beau means beautiful river. And that is the origin name of Buffalo, New York, where we headquartered out of. And that was one of the origin names that Buffalo derived out of. When settlers came to Buffalo, they described it as beautiful rivers. So we're given that name, right? What does a river do? It connects people, right? It connects communities. So through Beau, through culture, through lifestyle, through sports, through music, that's how we're connecting to our community. And all those different multi-access points, right, that's how we're really doing it. And that's how we've been doing it successfully, staying on the pillars of diversity to build bridges in the community.
I love it. Now, when we talk about standing on the pillars of diversity, there's many things that Beau does. But when it comes to this particular panel, what is the mission and why is it important to tie into this panel?
I think the biggest thing for it, right, we talk about horticulture, right? So when you see it spelled out, four is if you ever play golf, right, you hit the ball wrong, it goes the wrong way.
You gotta yell four.
You gotta yell four, right? We flipped the name on it, so where we're saying four, and we put that parentheses for E, that E stands for everybody. Golf traditionally has been a sport that has had barriers. It's the wealthiest sport, right? But as blacks and African Americans, people of color, we have not had that same access point to that sport, right? But over the last 5 years, and even more so, it has grown. We've seen more representation. If you look at what's happening this weekend in the Ryder Cup in New York City, you see that growing. You see Eastside Golf, you see City Swing, you see Black Golf DC, you see what's happening at Langston Hughes, right? And what we're doing in Buffalo, right? And just over the past over the year and a half, we engaged over 1,300 people in the game of golf, right? That look like us for their first time. So it's important, right? It's us. It's our culture, right?
Yes.
If you ever go to a golf course, right, you're having a good time, right? You're looking good, you're dressing good, right? Golf is the backdrop. The connection is the key, right? So why is it not for us? So that we're breaking those barriers.
Absolutely. And speaking of breaking barriers, one of the key components, what I've learned just being able to now be a golfer, you really begin to gauge in a different storyline of business and you're being invited in and, of course, engaging at another level with individuals. So when I think about my golf story, what is your golf story and why you got started and how?
Yeah, so I grew up in I kind of like this, a suburban setting, right? I think some people can relate to that, right? But I grew up I went to a diverse school in Buffalo, New York, but I think the next closest black person that lived to me was probably like 2 miles away. Wow. But that exposed me to a number of different sports. And one of those sports was golf, right? I knew how to play hockey, I knew how to play football, I knew how to play basketball, right? All those different things, but golf was that. So all of my golf friends, all of my buddies that lived on the street, they had clubs. They had every club you could have. I found a bag in my basement that my dad had, and it was a putter. So we would go chip. I would go chip with the putter. I would stay along with him. So that was the first introduction to that. And that was when I was about 10 to 15 years old, right? So I went away from the game, playing other sports. And then when I started having kids, this was the piece to connect back to my children. Where's a place that you can be somewhere for, if you play 9 holes, 2.5 hours, 5 hours, you have to talk. You have to conversate. You have to connect, right? So this is an opportunity to connect with my oldest daughter, right? We have a very good relationship, but to be actually outside with her, right, and be able to talk for 2.5 hours, right, to be able to bond. And what that has done is got her involved into the game. She's now playing for her high school, right? She's had the opportunity to come. I took her down to Langston last week, and she enjoyed that whole culture experience.
She enjoyed the shopping piece. I saw her running it up.
She enjoyed the shopping piece, but it was love. So for me, it was opportunity for exposure to me, but now it's a connection piece with my family, but now it's also growing the game overall.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the conversation about growing this game and those individuals who I like to call growers of it too. So please put your hands together again for our chairman of Beau and cultivating this conversation, Lindsay L. Taylor.
First up, she is the founder of City Swing, Miss Tari Cash. We have the general manager of Langston Hughes Golf Course, Randall Thompson. She is a senior strategist and CEO of the Anchor Group, Kimberly Hunt. And last but not least, the founder of Black Golf Club, Johnny Bailey.
All right, we have these amazing panelists who took some time out to come and talk to us about the amazing game of golf and where they stand with it. So this is a question for each of you. We're going to limit it to just 1 minute apiece. I know you got some amazing stories to tell. So how did you first get involved in golf, and what keeps you connected to this day? So I'll start with you, Ms. Cash. Check, check.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love to talk about golf. So I'll make this quick. My father started to play golf because he was on some boards of some big companies in corporate America. As he started to play more and more, my mother was like, your father's spending a lot of time somewhere. And so me, you, and your brother are going to go take some lessons. And we're going to join him wherever he is doing this golf thing. So we took lessons. And on Father's Day, we decided after 2 lessons to go out to the Brookline Country Club, one of the most prestigious clubs out there, and to play our first 9. It was a terrible experience for him. For those of you that know golf, he said it was his worst Father's Day. But from there, I got the bug and have been playing ever since. That's when I was a teenager.
I love it. I love that. He said the worst Father's Day. My goodness.
So I got started in golf at 5 years old. My dad left a set of clubs and a ball around the house. He told me, don't touch my stuff. He goes away for 5 to 10 minutes. I find the ball and club. I end up outside and I break a window. I was hooked ever since then.
Broken windows, terrible Father's Day. Kimberly, you next.
I was actually exposed to golf in undergrad. I was volunteering for a nonprofit organization of an NFL player, and every other week he was invited to fundraisers and special events. So helping organize, learning a little bit about the game, but the biggest part was the relationship component and all the people that I met along the way.
I love it. All right, bring us home. Your story.
Yeah, so for me, my grandfather was actually a PGA instructor when I was a kid, growing up in Petersburg, Virginia, and he put a golf club in my hands at the age of 6. However, I didn't pick it up again until I was 36. So in between that, like most young black kids, I'm playing basketball, football, running track, doing everything except golf. And it wasn't until I was maybe 36, I was going through some tough times in my life. I'm a former athlete, ran track and field at the Real HU, Hampton University, and I needed something to do with my time. I needed something competitive, something therapeutic, and golf was a game that I had been adjacent to, so I bought some clubs, went to the driving range, and I got hooked. I started, I just got the bug, and from that moment on, I really dedicated myself to playing more golf.
Amazing stories as to why they got started and continue on, and of course, we're going to dive into more.
Yes. We all know golf is a cultural connector, often bridging between industries, communities, and generations. Johnny, this question is for you. You've envisioned a world where Black Americans hold an equitable share of wealth and influence, and you've built Black Golf Club as more than just a golf community. It's a membership model that brings lessons, training, wellness, competition, travel, and networking all under one roof. How do you see golf serving as both a cultural connector and a pathway to equity?
Yeah, man, that's a really good question. And so I always think about this story of a young kid whose father took them to the golf course regularly, and that kid grew up normalizing the network, the opportunities, and the benefits of the game of golf. And for most Black Americans, however, that is not our story. And the inaccessibility of golf has been detrimental to our community socially, politically, and economically. And the game of golf really has a synergistic element that it kind of levels the field of status. When you step on the golf course, it doesn't matter if you're the president of the United States or you're the janitor. If you can swing that club and hit the ball, people will respect you. People will, engage with you. And so we all know the old trope that, deals happen on the golf course and, certain people should have access to golf and certain people shouldn't. But at Black Golf Club, we want to make the world's wealthiest pastime more accessible. We believe that skill building, social networking, and course confidence should be accessible to everyone. And that's exactly what we set out to do. In 2023, I was playing golf a lot by myself, and I was experiencing these 3 problems. 1, I didn't know how to play. 2, I didn't have anyone to play with. And 3, no one was inviting me out to the golf course. And so as an entrepreneur, I started to think about how could I solve these problems. And it was 1, building community. So we started off with just a group chat and, connecting like-minded people. I was working at Amazon at the time, so I'm inviting my colleagues from Amazon. They're inviting fellow tech employees from other companies. And so we're kind of seeing who's gravitating towards the game. And over time, we started to see momentum. We started to share things online on social media and create spaces for men and women to learn the game, to fellowship. And we're seeing connections that have been made. We're seeing partnerships that are done. We're also ourselves intentionally selecting partners who are Black-owned businesses, Black-owned business owners to be our vendors, to be our suppliers. And I think that has created an ecosystem of just economic success for us.
You're actually getting into my second question. Of course, you was getting access to the game of golf, but you're actually giving access to those tables where decisions are making. You talked about bringing, Black vendors in and businesses. How else are you making it so that that particular space is where people can be at a table that they've never been before and really excel themselves, their business, or whatever they have going on?
Yeah, man. So, 1, we have our golf events, which in our club, we have a private membership club, so we attract folks from all economic statuses and really Virginia, Maryland, and DC. But we have some VP levels, we have some CEO level people, and they're coming out to play golf. And everyone's entering the game kind of as a newbie or an intermediate golfer that wants to learn. And so not only are we meeting on the golf course and these connections are being made, and we see in our group chat, we have a private group chat that we see connections being made amongst folks that never would have met each other. And they're spending time outside of golf doing things, celebrating birthdays and talking about work opportunities. And we also have networking events. So we actually are very intentional about just meeting up in social spaces where we can connect and learn more about what each of us do professionally and socially, so that we can try to drive and really encourage economic success for all of our members.
Love it.
I love it. So you hit so many key points when we talk about our next topic, which is business beyond the green. So golf as a networking tool and professional growth space. We got the stories of deals, collaborations, and partnerships that sparked on the course. Now, this one is for you, Tari. Now, through City Swing, you've built a multi-face brand with studios, mobile golf trucks, a foundation, but also a career in high-level finance industry. Now, how do you see those 2 worlds of community and corporation connecting? In what ways has golf served as a bridge between entrepreneurship and your corporate career?
Got it. Great. Thank you for the question. I just want to piggyback on something that Johnny said. It is so important that we put ourselves in a position to learn golf, because the benefits go far, far, far beyond just the game, right? It is, first of all, and we've all heard about deals being done on the course, and I'm going to come back to that, but it's also a place where there's so much personal development that occurs, so much personal health, walking a golf course, or even just being out there. Mental health, I think, is something that we get from it. And then, of course, there's the business side. Now, when people say business is done on the course, what they really mean is relationships are formed on the course. If you're out there and you're on the course with other corporate partners or people in your office, when you go back to the office after spending 4 hours with someone, you're going to become friends, because you're all going to be humbled by that ball. And so the humility that comes from that is what builds the relationship. So whether you're good at golf or you're bad at golf, like Johnny said, it's a game that is all about sort of democratizing. And so you're going to build these relationships. And then when you go back to the office, what's going to happen is people are going to be more likely to give you the information first. So I find, I don't know if you agree with this, if you all agree with this, but it's not so much that deals are signed assigned on the course. It's more so that relationships are formed on the course, and then through those relationships, you're going to get access to other parts of the business world. So I started my career in investment banking, and then I worked for a number of different entrepreneurs, and then I started my own business, which is City Swing. At City Swing, we have 2 indoor golf facilities. We have a mobile business, so think of a 40-foot long trailer with 2 simulators built into either side, and then we have a separate entity, a 501c3 foundation. A personal experience of mine in which business and golf have collided is playing in a tournament. I was paired with a banker, and I didn't know that we were going to be paired together, but after 4 to 5 hours of getting to know each other, he's like, I really like you, and I think I'd really like to help your business. And that did turn into just that relationship that turned into a multi-million-dollar, banking relationship for me and for him. So it's about the relationships that are formed on the course, and I can tell you personally, it's my personal testimony, it really does work. It really does happen. And so I'm very, very passionate about saying I don't even care if you don't like the game. It is imperative that we take up space in this game because it is where the deals are getting done. And one of the biggest misnomers is that you have to be good before you can get out there. You really don't. What you have to do is find people like us, find communities and people in your local communities that will take you out there and help you just get comfortable enough to then go out and talk the game. You know what I'm talking about. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did, ma'am. Okay, key points. Relationships, and you don't have to be good. You just got to go to the people that are, and they'll make you great, all right? So another conversation when it comes to our business beyond the green. This one is for you, Miss Kimberly. As a senior strategist who is renowned for helping leaders and organizations navigate high-pressure moments while amplifying their brand voice, in your experience, how does golf fit into the toolkit? How can golf, with its mix of strategy, patience, and presence, as we all know, you got to have some patience when we out there, be used to strengthen relationships, preserve composure, and even enhance brand positioning?
Thank you for that question. A couple things I'll unpack, and I'll be mindful of my other panelists. Speaking about the toolkits, the patience, the building rapport, I think, as everyone on the stage has already said, being able to build rapport with people that you may not know, that's a special skill set, I think. I think also that people don't realize that there's a certain level of mentoring that takes place on the course. Just like she just said earlier, just show up. Lots of times in our culture, we hear people say, show up. You just need to show up and that's enough. Sometimes that's really all you have to do. Be able to read the room. Whether it is from a cultural competency standpoint, when it comes to the game of golf, being able to read the room in terms of the nuances that aren't being said. How to approach people that you don't know. There will be moments that are high pressure, how people manage those high pressure moments. One of my favorite things, not just in terms of golf, but when it comes to athletes, I've worked with NBA players, NFL players, got a brand new NFL rookie. When the tables are turned and you learn from them, you may be on the golf course and there's a generational connection because you may be working with someone even younger than yourself or someone older. And that's where the conversations start. And having the ability to sustain those conversations as well as those relationships throughout the course of the game are imperative. And I've just seen so many relationships evolve from that. And that's one thing that keeps me coming back.
Randall, the historic Langston Golf Course, not only a place of play, but a hub of innovative programming and meaningful community partnerships. First of all, could you educate everybody on the history that this plays in African American golf and take us from then to how it's evolved now?
Sure, happy to go through that. So in 1939, Langston opened. It was the first golf course open to African Americans in the city. We are lucky to have some of the professionals that have developed out of Langston, one being Lee Elder, who went on to play in the Masters, breaking the color barrier for us there. But today we bring that energy into the present day where we develop our programs to try to bring in youth, try to bring in our elders, just try to open it up for everyone to explore a little bit of a resistance that's going to make you better in the long run. So I think, a lot of what we see at Langston is core programming that's going to bring you in for one reason or the other. We do some things called range nights. We do some things, range socials, but there's always good food around. There's always something cold to drink. And that can be the spur that gets you into the game. So using that formula and just capitalizing on what people enjoy, what the culture enjoys, and they may not know about golf, but bringing that in to their first experience.
Really making it an inclusive space where people want to come. Talk to a little bit more about those programs, specifically what type of programs, and walk us through maybe someone's kind of evolution when they're first coming. Like we said, they're intimidated, they think they're not supposed to be there. What does that look like? Is it a story that comes to mind of anybody?
Sure. So like I said before, how I got started in golf, I got a ball and went outside without my dad's permission and broke a window. And sometimes you just have to get out there and do something. But starting that process, I operated the busiest golf school in the country, and not knowing how to get there was a lot of thoughtful moments where, how can I get Tari into the room? How can I get Johnny into the room? And a lot of that building was just kind of organic. It was conversations. It was creating the relationships that brought us into the room. But just to expand on the relationships, we had to put action. We had to put feet to ground. We had to start seeing Black Golf Club DC. We had to see Gold Links show up and show out for what we are trying to expand upon. So I think we've got a pretty special time in golf right now. We're seeing all kinds of faces, all kinds of ages into the game for various reasons. Golf is a game that has $250 billion in the ecosystem. So there's a lot of opportunity for myself, for others, to capitalize on what's out there to grab something for themselves.
Can I say something real? He's being so humble.
I feel like he
He
is.
is being so humble. I can't tell you all what it means to have a Black GM
Yes.
of a historic Black golf course, because as much as we want to say, just come play, just come on into the industry, it's really not for us yet. Right, we're there more. It is more accessible than ever, but we got to have a place to play. And what Randall is doing here in the DC area is opening up the doors and making sure that Johnny is in his community, that my foundation, that we have a place to play. So just thank you, and you are making a huge
100%.
difference.
We got to give Randall his flowers.
Come on and clap it up for Randall.
Yeah, clap it up for Randall, for real, for real.
And one more really practical question, because there's some people out there that's like, okay, I have some place that I can go. What does it take for me to get there? Like, what's the cost? What am I spending? What do I need? How can I, what do I need to show up as?
Sure. So a lot of the programming we try to create, we stress affordability and accessibility. We do programs that are free. We do a free lesson Friday. But generally speaking, I always tell people, avoid buying clubs, avoid buying new sets of clubs. Go get one. Go to a driving range. A bucket of balls costs $5, $8. So that's a little bit more friendly way to get involved in the game, as opposed to $3,500, $2,000 to buy new clubs and then try to figure out what it is that you're trying to do.
I love it. I think we all just noticed we had somebody else just join us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. David Leaks. He is the partner and street execs manager and founding member of the Gold Links Golf Club. Can we give David a round of applause?
Put your hands together for him, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Flight was delayed from Atlanta, so I'm glad to be here. I appreciate everybody.
No, thank you, David. Speaking on that and Atlanta, you've built a career in the entertainment world, working with artists like 2 Chainz and Key Glock, while also being a founding member of the Gold Links Golf Club, a space where former and current athletes and innovators are engaging within the game. In your view, how does golf uniquely bridge the world of sports and entertainment?
Perfect. So, quick story, and I'll make it kind of fast. But initially, how we the idea of Gold Links kind of came about was the Tour Championship is in Atlanta, and they wanted 2 Chainz to be a part of the Tour Championship, because golf wanted to figure out ways that they can merge the culture of what Atlanta had going on with the music and entertainment industry into golf, right? But a lot of times with a lot of corporations, they don't know how to truly market to us as the way we want to market to. And they think that just putting a face in front of somebody is just that we're going to just be a part of it, right? So it's like if you had let's just say like a crazy hood rapper and there's somebody that's a young professional, you can't just sell them on anything, right? Gandhi said it best: in order to lead the people, you must live amongst the people that you represent. So all the deliverables in the agreement, 2 Chainz is not a golfer. He doesn't play like that. So it was like great money, but it didn't make sense for us. So we kind of declined, but it was an artist that actually took the money, right? And when the promotion and things like that came out, of course, T in the green, driver in hand, talk about growing the game and all this kind of stuff. So for me, it was a light bulb went off. I was like, oh, y'all want us in the space. Y'all just don't know how to do it authentically, right? And a lot of times with having athletes and entertainers, we kind of get put into a box that we can everybody wants to live vicariously through us, especially as I'm sure y'all have experienced, is that when you're just a young professional, a man or woman of color, a lot of times I don't think that golf has had the best opportunity or they feel uncomfortable of us having joy and pride in their solace, in their place of peace, right? And so we have to kind of put our head down and things like that. But when you're an athlete entertainer, because they can understand why you're here, right, then you get to move around a certain different way, right? So it's like, well, let's just figure out a way that we can use our talents, our resources, pull it together, and give what the culture and black people want to experience and see the best of the game, right? So if you just want to be out there for recreation, you can do that. But if you want to understand business and to get what golf can offer you from a financial benefit, then let's try to figure out how we can kind of break down those barriers and using our resources to break down those barriers to let everybody have a good time and have fun with it. Because like I said, a lot of times it's just interesting that we can't show up to the golf course like ourselves right now. Just being honest, you know what I mean? Like we got to put on that Holderness and Bourne or that Peter Millar, you know what I mean, to fit in at the good private country clubs. Now if you go to the public courses, you can do your thing, right? But you're going to get looked at a certain way. But when you have the athlete entertainer in there ushering through who they already want to be vicariously through, it makes it easier to have that conversation. But it's just, we have to lean on, our leaders to break down the barriers for us.
So, David, talk a little bit about how entertainers such as rappers you've seen come on the golf course and open up so many other business opportunities for them.
I think that golf is one of those sports that allows you 4 to 5 hours to be in front of somebody, and even though that person may have a bad perception of you and making the wrong assumption of you, and those 4 hours you get an opportunity to explain who you are, having conversation. And I think with being African Americans, we can talk frankly, right? You can either be really good and be an introvert, or be an extrovert and just not be at the best. Right, but if you're an extrovert and you're not the best, you can buy the drinks, you can have a good time, the conversations kind of open up. But if you're an introvert and you're really good, all the conversations come to you, right? And you can have those understandings, right? Now, being an entertainer, a lot of those conversations are already coming to you because they're like, oh, I get to play with my favorite artist, my favorite athlete, and all this kind of stuff, right? But at the same time, it gives the artist and athlete to know that, I'm bigger than just who you think I am, because I can understand the game. I can understand the small nuances of the game as far as simple things as far as raking the bunkers, putting divots. And even though people say it's not, but it's like you find a lot about a person gambling on a golf course, integrity and everything. You know what I mean? And that's where they find out if they really want to do business with you or not. And sometimes the soft skills that we don't think are real big things, but those minute things people look at and judge you on. And for us, unfortunately, us being who we are, we don't get those second chances.
Thank you so much. Now, Dave, you hit a lot of key points, that we want to be able to speak on when we think about the give back and how are we engaging our community. And with Beau Flow, we are culturally engaged and community activated. And when we think about the give back to our community with golf, it's expensive, right? And it's sometimes hard for others to be able to engage because of those particular barriers. And you said it best. You got to make sure you show up, you put your best foot forward, because oftentimes we get one time to be able to make that impression. So we think about the give back to our community. Just a quick 1 minute from each of you, how are you giving back to the community in ways that individuals here within your spaces can engage?
Yeah, so one thing that we do is, again, what I see, which is fascinating in golf, and I think has been a key to our success, is that we look at golf, you either see like older generation, 45, 50 plus, because they got a little bread and they can play golf on their retirement journey, or everything's about the youth. It's like, bring the next generation up, it's all like U17. And all that is great, but what happens is when you turn 18 and until you're 45, there's like really no golf programming for you. It's like you're kind of just figuring it out on your own, and most of the time we opt out because we're not good enough and we don't know how to play, etc. So one thing that we've done is provide, as a club, a bridge for any black professional, any black American to be able to enter the game, to qualify you, to say like, hey, you don't have to be good. We can all be bad and grow the game together and get this skill set into your bag. And from a business perspective, we've been able to generate revenue from our membership model and serving our adult members. We also partner with other nonprofits in the area like HBCU Tournament, which is a tournament that happens every year, and they're giving back to domestic violence victims at HBCUs. Or we're partnering with Randall over at Langston to make sure that we're providing training for the youth and providing resources for them to do the work that they do. So we really like skew towards adults, right? I know that's kind of like taboo, like how are you helping kids? But like we want to help adults learn the game of golf because I think we're ready to use the game right now.
That's a good point. Ms. Kimberly?
One thing that we continuously do is bring more women to the conversation.
Yes.
I know we talk a lot about race and age, but bringing more women to the conversation, giving them opportunities to bring other women, also making sure that we're giving the women the tools, whether they want to walk away becoming a business manager, whether they want to walk away and become an agent, making sure that they have access to the information. As you all know, a lot of us don't have access to some of this information, but simply showing up and being in that room, we learn so much, and you just give it back to the communities. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, doesn't have to be in front of the cameras, doesn't have to have a label on it, but simply saying, join me at this next event, and making sure that that person has the tools they need to be successful while they're there.
It's necessary. Thank you. Randall?
To keep the energy we have going, I look to a lot of people on this stage. I think we already have relationships, but we've got to stick together to keep this snowball going until it can be a mega snowball. But what we're doing at Langston, outside of our golf programming, we have a workforce development program which employs children, young adults, 15 to 18, paying them minimum wage, showing them the golf business, bringing them into the ecosphere of how we run a golf business, and just trying to highlight their resume, build their resume through what we add to it. We've added programs that have added another level of a staffing environment that we didn't expect. So it's searching, staying curious, and throughout that curiosity, trying to find ways to overcome, which have ultimately led to success that Langston and I see today. So I hope to keep that curiosity up and define programs that bring us a better experience and just redefine the experience that we've had.
I love it.
So I have City Swing Foundation, and we have 3 sort of tentpole programs there. The first is called Ready, Set, Golf, where we go to Boys and Girls Clubs, we go to Girl Scout troops, we go to churches, and we provide a completely free 22-hour curriculum for the kids there. It is all about etiquette, terminology, how to swing. It's about careers in the golf industry, and ideally, that group, there would be some from that group, but that would then transition to our second program, which is called City Swing Links. We're playing on the words of a links golf course, but we're also linking kids and communities together to resources that will help them grow their golf experience. This program is extremely important, particularly for our young girls, because there's a huge drop-off in girls playing if they don't see other girls that look like them playing. And so that program, we have monthly meetups, but we also link any child and their family to coaching, to equipment, anything that they might need. It's a very hands-on program. It's not the same for any kid. And so we're just going to fill in the blank through the Links program to get them the resources that they need. The third of our 3 programs is called it's named after my dad, and I'm stumbling. It's the James Cash Jr. Invitational, and it is a golf tournament for kids that have played in less than 5 tournaments. Because as you know, in order to have the confidence as a kid to say, I want to go try out for my high school golf team, we need to hold their hands to get started. As adults, we need to hold our hands to get started. So for kids, we need to do the same thing. So we send the kids out with mentors on the course. They're able to ask questions about the rules. We have cheerleaders. I mean, it's a whole thing. And that is how we see ourselves giving back and trying to transition kids from first exposure to community to actually playing.
I love it. Exposure, community, and play. Dave?
So we kind of focus more so on the recreational golfer, not the guys who've been playing since they were 4 years old and actually been exposed. We kind of focus on people who've picked up the game later on in life. So, after they left college or they kind of see various things. So we created this thing called the Golden Tour. And basically what we do is we rent out semi-private country clubs and private country clubs, and we give them the whole golf experience for free. So they can come out, have a good time, because we want to kind of eliminate the barriers, right? Because that's number one. Like, if I can't see what I want to become or see what's dope, I'd never do it, right? So that's for us. It's like, well, just come out here, be on this nice course. And then a lot of times, some of our friends, right, that, may have money or may have money, they don't have access. They don't know what to wear. They don't know the clothes and all that kind of stuff. So we'd invite them out with us, right? We'd be looking crazy, the pro and all that kind of stuff. Be like, yo, what do y'all got going on? So instead of all that, man, we just go rent the course out. You can come have a good time, have fun. So we do 10 of those a year. We do it in different cities. And also we partner with Callaway to give people clubs, right? So if anybody hits us, sees our videos, they think it's fun, they want to go out and play golf, and they're like, yo, I want to play golf. We're going to buy you clubs, we're going to give them to you. And if you got old clubs, give us your old clubs and we'll give you some new clubs. So we can get those old clubs to the new people who want to start playing golf. You kind of get out there and just enjoy it. So our thing is more so the lifestyle and the fun, right, of golf. Not necessarily on the actual, like, the fundamentals, because we were self-taught. We were looking at YouTube to figure out how to play. So we just out there having a good time and just being ourselves. So that's what we kind of show authentically. And so that's what kind of we focus on. And then we have the HBCU tour that we do. And like I said, we've created this thing about a give back. So a lot of our HBCUs, I went to one as well, and a lot of my partners went to HBCUs. It's like, all right, endowment rate is low, right? And at golf, right, it's golf is one of those sports that let you know your network is your net worth, right? So the reason why a lot of people who go to Morehouse and Spelman or Howard or whatever don't give back to the institutions, because they feel like the institution didn't get them nothing when they was there, right? It's like, man, I had to go in circles to go get funding. I had to go sit in the dean's office to get money. So instead of let's remove all those barriers, right? We're going to provide everything, take you to the nicest course to be on that. So now we're going to charge you with saying, now, instead of you would have never played this course without us being here, now take that money and give it back to your institution, right? So that is kind of our little charge that we're giving to HBCUs to kind of give back. So we started at Morehouse, third year, and then we got Design Essentials. Thank you for Design Essentials coming a part of it. In 2026, we're going to take it to the 10 other HBCUs.
Nice.
But it's for recreational golfers, though.
I love it. One more time, please put your hands together for our panel. And at this moment, if there's any questions that you may have for our panelists, we are open to that. If you are an aspiring golfer, a desiring golfer, or even just want to be able to engage in a game, we have a microphone placed right here for the questions. And again, no question is a silly question. Remember, you could be a bad golfer and come out here with those who are good golfers and learn. And if you don't have questions, we have more questions.
I have a quick one for anybody that can answer. David said a couple words: recreation, lifestyle, And if we also think about that stat, you said between 18 and 40, that's kind of that spot that we miss some people. To me, that kind of screams there's not that cultural connection. And as someone kind of on the outside looking in, when I see brands like Eastside Golf, they seem to be making that cultural connection to draw people in. Are there any other brands, companies, or anything out there that we should be really supporting and paying attention to that's really helping to make that bridge?
No, for sure. Can I answer your question, what you said first? So there's three things that's synonymous with the hip-hop culture, black culture, and golf, right? One, high fashion. We like looking fresh on the golf course. Golfer provides you with the opportunity to look fresh because you can be your individual. Wealth, right? We like saying that we have money, we have the up on things, and so does golf. Golf is one of those only sports when it comes to the country club, dictates, shows how much money it costs. And then exclusivity, right? We like saying that we have the up and the other person doesn't in the music, in the entertainment industry. So it's like when you look at golf courses, when they have the belt and the subtleness of the flex, right? And that may be the congressional hat or the Oak Hill belt, right? Those are various things that we would do in the music industry or in black culture. It's like the Hermes, the Versace, and all that kind of stuff. So golf and black culture is really similar. We just don't know it yet because we haven't had the opportunity to be a part of it, right? So I would say yes, elbow golf is a good one. Black ball golf is definitely a good one that we've seen out of Atlanta that actually resonate with the culture. But I'm sure there's a lot of other ones that I'm not mentioning that do that thing. Trail golf is another one, but what do you guys think?
Definitely City Swing. They're doing really great work here in DC. Blackballed, elbow. There's a golf ball. What's the golf ball brand, Randall?
Renegade.
They're doing their thing. There's a lot of opportunity. There's not enough brands that are household names. Eastside Golf really is the front runner, and they're really transcending the barrier or the color barrier of golf, where their brand's being accepted at tournaments and Ryder Cup, and they're doing collaborations with Nike, and so they're making this logo of a black man swinging a golf club with a gold chain on his neck, and they're making it, accepted, and everyone's wearing it, right? And I think that's symbolic in how the game is trending and how there's so much opportunity for everyone on this stage to really kind of take their game to the next level.
I love it. One more time, please put your hands together for our amazing panelists, David Leaks, Tyra Cash, Randall Thompson, Kimberly Hunt, and Johnny Bailey. Thank you so much for showing up and being able to share with us about your golfing journey. And one thing I learned as a golfer, that golf is just like the game of life. It is the game of life. You got to play the ball where it lies. No matter how good or great you are, you can show up and have a great game, and you can show up and having a terrible game. But at the end of the day, you got to keep swinging and hit that ball, and hopefully you will get it in. So again, thank you so much for coming to For the Culture. We appreciate each and every one of you. And of course, make sure you follow Beau Music and Art. Shout out, of course, to the one and only Mr. Durrell for being a co-moderator. I'm Adriana Viverette, also known as Adri V, and thank you each of you again for being here.